Good evening. If you would like to listen to a 38-year-old grown adult drone on for 10 to 15 minutes about all of the intuition, the evolution of the intuition liner, and the intuition skate liners, you've come to the right place. So the story you've heard many times is this liner, where Leon was at Intuition, or looking at a catalog, I can't remember what, and he spotted this aqua liner that was actually meant for a thrown shell type wakeboard binding. You look at this, it looks perfect for a skate. Around the same time, he was skating the Seba FR skates, and he realized that this might work. And we saw him skate this in Salmon Arm, and he was onto some shit with this one. If you just look at it, it already looks like a skate liner. It had the sticky silicone bits on the bottom. It didn't really have any shape or heel lock. It was just meant for a barefoot to go in to a wakeboard binding. But Leon was really smart to see the connection. It was all the same thickness around, but it skated amazing in the FR. And the funniest part is that when I first got my FRs, I was skating. I had so many weird, we all do, aggressive skater mentality things, and I was skating REMS liners in my FR for the first little bit. There's a couple clips here and there of it. I think I even made an edit that I never put out. REMS liners in FR, just so weird. But then, Leon was like, trust me, they're going to take a little bit to pack out, or they might feel weird at first, but you're going to love them. And I remember my first session, they were so shockingly responsive and different feeling than anything I had ever skated. And then you're like not sure at first, and then you try and go back to your old liners and you realize how crappy they are. And everybody had that same experience. So the exciting part is, as it evolved from Big Wheels 1, where we were in these, Big Wheels 2, we were in an actual skate liner. And the funny part is, this is the liner that I skated for that video, and I still skate these. I think I posted pictures of them or talked about them, but this liner is 6 years old? No, even longer, I think. This must be from is it 8 years old or 7 years old? Incredible that it still retains its shape. I've used this in Big Wheels 2. I've used this in all the Wizard testing. I use this in the blade practice edits in various M12s, and it's still going. So the evolution from here to here was obviously ventilation. There was added ventilation. The stitching is different in the toe box. He tried a neoprene toe, and it just made it feel kind of sloppy. I still think neoprene toes are a slop fest. The laces were added. The tongue's pretty close to the same. Might be a thicker tongue. A little bit of ventilation added here. Yeah, silicone all along the bottom. The Velcro on the heel for the shock absorber. And then this was Josh Silver's idea, was the power wrap could come off and there could be different softnesses. I always skated the hardest ones. I never skated these without the power wrap, which is interesting that I skated them without for this one. He also changed, I think, maybe the thickness around here. I'm not going to be precise in all this, but you understand that. Oh, and there's a little bit of, there was heel padding, extra padding for the heel for heel lock. So it evolved from the aqua to the skate liner. And this is when it hadn't, people weren't believers yet in it, because you don't trust some Canadians saying our product is amazing. You need to be a core company from the United States with one of 10 aggressive skaters repping it, which is funny because that changed later. The product was so good that word started to spread slowly. This was an incredible liner, and it still is, and it's amazing how much this has been through and how it still holding up, and I could still skate it. Such an amazing change from here to here. Then the V2 happened, and some of the sizing changed. This was also thinner. The J bars, so the supports, I think that's what they're called. The heel lock and support was better for these, and the volume changed a little bit thinner. This is where the classic gold came in, which has almost become iconic, and then this is where the liner really took off. I think the front area changed as well, because this took a while to break in. You can see here, like, that my toe is almost busting through this, whereas the sizing changed. I think they added more sizes for this one. Different colored, the two wraps, the gold and the black. But the funny thing is, yeah, I skated these without the wraps in my Wizards. That this was kind of going towards a more thin feel for me, but a lot of people skated them with the wraps on aggressive skates. They added more ventilation on this one. The bottom, there's some in the bottom, extra ones in the side, and the lacing changed on this one. So the lacing went further down. I have the one with the small eyelets, but there was bigger eyelets for the production ones. But I loved the lacing, extra lacing on these ones. It was one extra lace hole. These took longer to break in. They were a bit higher volume. These took less time to break in, a bit lower volume, more ventilation, more sizes available. They did lose the silicone though. So I did miss these sticky bits a little bit. It's something that you could have added though. There was a little bit less heel lift in this model than this one. Also the sizing changed even for the medium, so these ones are a bit longer than these ones. That's a whole other thing though. All the sizing information is available, but you can see this one packed out to be longer, but this one fit longer right away. Hopefully that makes sense. Then so I skated these during the Wizard frame testing and Big Wheels 2 era, and I skated these in everything after that. This was kind of the evolution of the liner that was supposed to go in the linerless Wizard skate. Because this was originally for the FR, this became more for the linerless Wizard skate. That's how it evolved in this direction. Then the weird 5-wheel era. The base of the skate was so long, and I was getting into skiing, that I found these were great for the hundreds or the 110s, the 90s. But I found even for the 110s, I wanted more support around here. I wanted to crank everything down as much because you're getting more torque side to side, and then also as the frames got longer, that push forward feeling, push forward and back, you really want stiffness all around here so you can really lean forward or back, kind of like in skis. So I wanted something that was extremely supportive and hard, and that's where I ordered these ones. There's so many different ski versions available, which would be amazing if skating got to that point one day. So this is the Pro Tongue liner, which I always dreamed about having a version of this for Wizard skates, which I'll get to in a sec. These were incredible because it's funny, it's pretty high volume material, that it definitely was not thin and more made for ski boots. So I would slap a K2 cuff on the Sevas to get it higher up, and then the 5x100s I would skate with these, and it had this super stiff tongue and wrap all around here that made the response incredible. Another thing that I liked about this liner is the base here was like this rubbery, I don't know what this material is, but it could almost be walkable in a way. It was also really good for absorbing shock. And then I think it was like a rubbery, harder material. I don't even know what to describe it. Leon would know what it was. It even comes back there a little bit, and that would lock in nice to the heel. These were way too high, but the responsiveness was incredible. This tongue piece is so hard and goes all the way down. So you could really, I don't know, just jumping and landing and going really fast, leaning far forward, leaning far back. It didn't feel like skiing, but it felt like something new when you skated these liners. The thing is, they were just so tall, and even this, not having this V-cut or U-cut in the back, it's really weird having something come up that high in the back for skating. It's kind of counterintuitive to some movements, but it made me kind of learn to lean forward more, and it was a cool experiment. I'll have to rock these again sometimes. Just kind of like the edge of ridiculousness on what could be done, but a very high quality stiff liner, and something that I dreamed of having a small skate version of, which led to this liner, which didn't come out right, that it's so tiny. It came out too small, so I couldn't skate it. But the inspiration was making the Pro Tongue mixed with the skate liner, which is exactly, what did I say? I said this in another video, but I told Leon if the V2 had sex with the Pro Tongue liner and they had a baby, that's exactly what they made. If these two liners had sex, this is their baby. And I'm so sad that it was too short for my foot. I guess I could try and stretch it out, but it's really short. It's like, I guess it would pack out eventually. So I couldn't really skate these because it hurt my toes in here. I just wish it could have been see, it says medium on it, but the base didn't really come out as medium. Maybe I'll heat mold these, I don't know. But then the cool part about this experiment, Leon did some amazing stuff. I can't remember if he skated one of these in one skate and the regular liner in the other skate, but he did some amazing stuff when he was wearing this prototype. I'm so sad that I couldn't skate this. But it had the same tongue, it goes all the way down, the wrap is similar. But a lot of the conclusions on this liner is what led him to this liner, because it takes the hard integrated power wrap of the Pro Tongue and the hard, supportive, stiffer tongue, but adapts it to more of an inline feel. And he also, I haven't talked about this yet, but he decided to not make the tongue piece go all the way down to the front, which I think is a smart choice. He probably skated both or all different kinds of tongue supports and realized that the most important part is to have all of this stuff, like the stiff pieces, meet and all of that work together for power transfer. But that you have to, this liner is what came of this and this and this, conclusions from all of these things. And also that for the PR and the 5-wheel and the longer bases, so there was also the 5x90 and the 5-100, this is kind of like the liner that we wanted. There was also some boot conclusions, but that's further down the road. But the futuristic whiz liner. Then in the other direction of people who had skated the V2, which was now core and popular, and you saw the little gold lines in a lot of places, The V1 was liked by the early adopters for the silicone bits, the higher volume. I found I preferred these in my V13s or M12s or whatever you want to call them, that I would ride these liners with the stiff wraps to get a nice supportive feel around the top. It would crank the buckle as hard as it could go. That I preferred these over the V2 and the V13s. So the best part about that is that's what evolved into this liner, which is the Them Intuition. It's not exactly the same as the V1, but it's pretty close. The stitching around the toe is different. The sizing, it's higher volume. The wrap is integrated, and it's a lot higher volume in the back area here, which, oh, and they added, this was a nice addition, this little bit of silicone here, because it had it on the V1, but not like this. And the brilliant thing about this liner is this is definitely, if there was an aggressive skating intuition, this is kind of like an extension of what made the V1 great in V13s and M12s, but it makes it even better, especially for someone like myself who's in the medium shell, needs to fill out more space, that this thickness here really makes my foot fit that bigger shell nicely. I could probably downsize into the small with this, just like I downsized with this one. Although it would crease in the bottom, you can see that I had a shock absorber, so I was like really stuffing my foot in there. But I think, oh, that one's a little bit shorter. I could probably do the small beer skate. I just don't know if I want to go down that road. So I prefer the medium shell with the Them Intuition. They still feel a little bit long, not the liner, but the shell. But this fills it out and makes them feel like nice, comfortable running shoes. Whereas this, you want that precise fit. That this is designed for the Seba shell, it's not designed for the Them shell. You want it thin and close with the carbon, with the metal. But if you're hardcore, you could get your wizard size in this and then try and downsize into a Them 909 shell. I might try it eventually, but not. Just need to try somebody else's, because I've gone down that road. I'm not going to go down it again. And then these are my current Them Intuitions. You can see I've skated these a lot, more than the blues. Sorry, more than the blues, but they're broken in quite nice. It looks so much like the V1, but it's not. It's a lot different. I don't know how well you can see any of that, but this is like, it's great, because this is what I really loved in my M12 V13, and now I'm pretty much skating that in a slightly wider, possibly slightly longer shell, but I love that it's the higher volume, comfortable liner for a classic plastic shell that fits my foot well, and then I have my high-end, responsive, thin, pro wizard liner to use in my Seba shells. That's everything. And always, oh, one little thing. For when in my wizard skates, yellow super feet under the liner, but for my aggressive skates, these ones and these ones, I wear the super feet inside. I wear them inside the shell. Why, you ask? Well, because the sticky bits on the bottom, it feels more together that way. And I was skating the shock absorber on the blue ones, on my blue skates, but now I'm skating without, and I just really like the super feet. These are for my Thems, the super feet on the inside. and just this and nothing else. I might try and find like a harder, thinner shock absorber. I just found that this works great, but I almost want something that's like harder and fills out this space more. Sometimes you can feel it wobble a little bit, so that's why I like not having anything there and then the superfeed on the inside, so the base just feels like a base. It's almost like the REMs like had the little pocket with the harder piece that you slide in, or something that I'm getting too ahead of myself, but this could evolve, because it's a great idea to Velcro the shock absorber and it works great, but it's not perfect yet. It doesn't have to be though, because it's already a great addition. Maybe even the way this is cut out to fit the heel and a super dense hard material. I don't know. It's a small thing that's really not that important in the grand scheme of things. But those are all the Intuition liners. It's so nice to have good liners in your skates, and in the swapping between the Wizard boots and then also having one liner with the superfeed in that you just swap out between different shells, and everything feels exactly the same. It's nice. We're in the future, and the future's good. Thank you for listening and watching. Sorry for the Velcro sound. I hope you learned something, and keep skating or something.